Well, in an effort to help our furry friends find a forever home, we're partnered with the folks at the Chautauqua County Humane Society for our Pet of the Week segment. Joining us today is Brian and Molly to talk more about this week's featured furry friend. Thank you both for coming in studio.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank
you.
you.
So these guys are so cute. I love their colors. Can you introduce us to them?
Ario Speedwagon.
Like Mr. Peanut.
I love it. I love it.
So these guys have a little bit of an interesting background. We have our TNR program through the shelter. Their mom was actually a TNR client of ours, and the owner, caretaker, decided that she would help by keeping these kittens long enough so we could get them into the shelter. They were large enough. So now we've got them in the shelter. There was more of them in the litter. 2 of these guys are leukemia positive, which we're hoping they'll test out in a few weeks or a few months and be negative so they can go into a normal home.
Wow.
But they have basically did our instant foster program, our TNR program, and we're just wonderful people in the community to help us get through them getting big enough to get spayed and neutered and move along to get adopted.
And I know anytime you have like a diagnosis like that, a lot of times people maybe are frustrated with having to overcome something like that. But it sounds like, especially for the kitty leukemia, that they can be cured from this.
It's not a cure. They can be transient. It's a form of it. So we will retest them again in 3 months if they're not adopted before then, because they're up for adoption now.
Okay.
We do adopt out our leukemia positive and our AIDS positive kitties, which is a great forward step for us for the shelter. So a lot of times these guys will actually test out. Just depends on how their health conditions are, and they'll go through. They can live very long, happy and healthy lives.
And that was my next question. If they do go to a home, is there anything people have to watch out for, or is it just like another pet?
Just basically like another pet. If they get a cold, it might last a little bit longer. But the leukemia positive kitties do have to go into a home with other leukemia positive kitties and or be home by themselves. But we have 2 kittens and a adult female that currently are all leukemia, so if somebody wants 3 cats,
Yeah.
they have a whole household ready-made.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Ready-made.
And that's the thing. The more the merrier sometimes when it comes to cats. You just, maybe you want to get a Roomba vacuum or something like that.
Yeah.
So Miss Juliet's also at the shelter, and she's a leukemia positive kitty. But yeah, so they are up for adoption and ready to go, but they are very sweet.
And as we mentioned in previous interviews, kittens are so impressionable that if you adopt them, maybe you want to adopt these 2 together. They A, have a whole life ahead of them, and then B, you mold them to be the pet you want.
Yes.
They'll learn your mannerisms, and the dogs are man's best friend, or cats could be too.
They really are.
Yeah.
Cats are very, very wonderful.
And one thing we did want to talk about too today, Brian, and having you come in, Molly, thank you so much for joining us, is in a case like this, there's probably a lot of medical things behind the scenes that you guys do at the Humane Society to get these animals
Yeah, it's
ready.
actually Veterinary Technicians Week this week, and that's why I wanted to put Molly in the spotlight, put her in the hot seat, just instead of giving her a free pizza or something like that.
Yeah. Well, stay around because we will have that coming up if you want to slice. But on that point, Molly, as a vet tech and working at the Humane Society, what are some of the things you do that I'm sure are crucial to operations?
There's a lot. When they come in, they get their first health exam, vaccines, wormer, flea control, see if there's any issues. We need to have the docs take a peek at. If they get colds, we work on the medications. The docs have told us what we can use to prescribe for them, get the meds started. Their enrichment to make sure they're doing what they need to do, that they're not stressed out. If they are stressed in one room, we try to get them moved around. Basically, just kind of keeping tabs on a lot of things. Getting called in after hours to make sure things are fine. But it's all worth it for these guys, you're purring, to get them on the way to their new homes, which is huge.
Is that what makes it, seeing a cat like this have such a rebound where he's able to go home now for you? Because I'm sure it's a lot of hard work.
It is a lot of hard work, and we run the spay neuter clinic in our shelter for 3 days a week. So there are some long hours put in, but it's a lot of reward.
Yeah.
So it helps a lot, and it's just nice to see them getting out and getting into homes and not being stuck in different places.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to find their cherished homes and to hear the stories from the people who have come through clinic, to have their pets altered, that we help them this way, that way, and then they would refer people, just to help get the pet population possibly a little bit under control, or at least know people are doing their part.
Yeah, and I know this week we've talked about you guys are at capacity again when it comes to cats.
Yeah.
It's been a problem not just here but across the nation. This weekend you're hosting another event at the mall to try to help.
We'll be at the Chautauqua Mall from noon to 3 tomorrow, where you have essentially all of our foster kittens are coming in. We have 3 were adopted since we have announced this. We're at 19, which is still quite a few.
Yeah.
The previous two that we've done like in this fashion, we've had 13 adoptions of both of them, 26 between the two. So we're really hoping to have that kind of success again. We are having the adoption fee, so it's $50 for one, $75 for two. And I always like to put the plug in. They are pretty social animals. Two
Yeah.
is not
Yes.
a bad idea if
No.
you don't have any.
Yeah, I can testify. My mom had 2 kittens. I think I've talked on the show before. One was for my sister, but they were living together and she couldn't separate them, so they got a 3rd kitten for my sister. My mom now has 2 kittens, and it is ramp a room every
Yeah.
time I
That's
go over
fun.
there. They wear each other out and then they sleep for hours.
Yeah.
And that's all she has to do. She doesn't have to do much.
Right.
They love each other, and it's such an incredible bond and great pets to have.
And
So
then they snuggle up and
take a
keep you
nap.
warm, and
Yeah.
their purring actually is supposed to reduce your blood pressure. So
Oh, really?
Yeah, there are benefits for
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
This one's already
Both
fallen
the
asleep.
human side and the cat side.
Yes.
Thank you both for coming in together. Again, chqhumane.org if you want to learn more about these guys or anybody else at the shelter.